All right. Welcome to some Minecraft musings. I'm in a random suit that looks pretty cool. Looks like I have like a bionic arm. Um, anyways, uh, some musing, some new era. I think we'll keep them in this one. But yeah, a lot going on. So doing more stuff on the X app, just talking with people around the world and trying to figure out. Well, first make sense of a lot of the nonsense going on. Then communication and understanding the differences between like the different types of poor communication. Like, is it because of technology? Is it because not enough of the information was received? Not enough of the information was understood? I mean, there's all sorts of things. Also, I gotta try to remember where I put. Oh wait, there we go. Ta-da! I was gonna say one of these is gonna have it all. I was gonna make like an emerald type tower thing. So we got the turtles coming, and that's cool. That we can go ahead and finish off this turtle. Then like a tower over here. So, anyways, and then as far as an idea, so I saw someone posting something, and it looks like, and not to be too religious and too, whatever. I feel like I have to say that as a disclaimer every time I start talking about like the Bible or the Quran or any kind of religious text, because it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, like it's so like psychotic how some people have followed such things, and like, but anyways, there's a part in it that says that you shouldn't charge interest on uh, shouldn't charge interest on loans for poor people. So if people meet a certain criteria, they shouldn't have interest on their loans, or their interest should be much lower, at least if we were just being sensible people, let alone, aligning with Christian faith. Because and the only reason like that's important is because there's so many people that are still so adamant on being like, or identifying as Christian, thinking of themselves as good Christian folk, or the way they were raised. And I was raised Christian as well, but I was given the option to like stop going and stop worrying about it so much and stop being such a part of it. And I did. I stopped. I stopped going to church, and I was like, and nothing against the people that still do. It's just, it was like I learned enough. I was good. Message received. Don't be a bad person. And I basically got my Sundays back. So, and I don't know. Some people need that kind of thing, and I don't want to knock it for the people that do, but like, I mean, or even if church was like changed, like if it was more of like a business meeting on how to fix world problems or something, and like, I don't know, and even my church growing up, like they did travel to Africa like multiple, or they had several trips where they'd send people over, and not that Africa is the only place that really needs any work or could use work, but just like, I don't know, and I feel like we're already doing that in other venues, other medium, without having to have like an actual physical church that you go to. And it's like, okay, now we're gonna do this stuff. It's like, nah, people are doing it on the social media, and like, it's just, it's amazing. So let's see. Basically, yeah, we're already gonna be out like that, but I want to make like a some kind of building. So when you're coming up with the boat, like you're approaching this area, you see just this emerald tower or something, and then it could go up like that tall or something like that. And that, jeez, that's not really all that much, but that's gonna be one of the projects. In fact, we should get maybe one of these chests from over here. So, anyways, so there's a part in the Bible, the whole point of what I was trying to get at, that says you shouldn't have interest on loans. There he goes. Yeah, for poor people, for people that meet a certain criteria. So if we did that, actually, wait, do I just have wood? Let's say build like fresh ones. Nah, it's gonna look tacky. But oh well. So just that concept that like we should take consideration, of business practices for people that meet a certain criteria, like the lowest of the low like income brackets. And regardless, like this shouldn't be a stipulation of, anything. It should just be like, oh, like they should get a house loan for, really cheap or really low. And we're already kind of doing something like that, like with the first time home buyer stuff. And I know a bit about this because I'm actually going through the process myself, but with like housing assistance and all that, and like I would be a first time home buyer. So you qualify for, I want to say like, well, so Kamala Harris is running on the idea of like offering first-time homebuyers like 25,000 assistance, but I've been working with this one program, like so. There's Neighbor to Neighbor here in northern Colorado, and then there's also Habitat for Humanity, and I'm looking into doing some of that. Wait, what are we doing right here though? Sorry, I need something to randomly do to fit. It's like basically a fidget game. So, but anyways, um, tying the religious part into it, or even there's two different parts. There's the religious, but there's also like not tricking, but convincing wealthy people to donate to certain causes and trust it. And I'm thinking specifically low interest or zero interest loans. Actually, let's just stick with low interest loans. Like if like famous movie stars or any of these people that just get massive amounts of wealth turned around and invested that in loaning it out to people that would maybe do a three strike rule. If you're late on your payment three times, then the home is reacquired just like the banks do. Like if you default on your loan, then I mean, maybe make it more graceful than three times, but I mean, at the same time, like if you can't pay within like several months, then there could be different circumstances. I don't want it to seem like harsh, like, because what's going to happen is people are in flux, like when they're kind of financially unstable. Like a lot of times it's alcohol, but it could also be drugs or just like circumstance, PTSD. I mean, like a number of reasons. And then on the journey to be restabilized, there's going to need to be some leeway. So people might be late a few times. Like that needs to just be like acceptable. But at the same time, I mean, and punished with more money, that's kind of, I don't know. Like I feel like something like public shaming or something might be better. Like if you signed a contract that said it's okay, I can be publicly shamed, and then everybody on your socials is like, hey, look, this fool's like, or whatever, and then that would create incentive for them to be like, at least like to borrow from somebody or ask somebody before it gets to that. And then they might do that. Then you've created a small temporary loan with another person to pay back on another loan. Anyways, there just should be a lot of like consideration and ease of use for anyone getting these loans because they're already down and out. They don't need to be kicked even further down. And that's where our revolving door of criminal justice comes from. It's because people that are down and out tend to care less, but also, sorry, my voice is getting really dry there. My mouth is getting dry, but, um, and it's a whole lot harder if you just continually just treated like worthless and stuff. I mean, if you're given a little ambition, a little motivation, then you're good. And thinking about Better Call, or not even Better Call Saul, that one's Breaking Bad, but where Saul's like motivation, and like, love that show. I don't know, but I think it could work, and I've talked to her about an idea about this before. I forget what I was calling it. It was like, but the basic idea was removing interest, or at least making interest more bearable for loans, and then having people be able to just like consolidate all their stuff. And there are like debt consolidation companies out there, but there's so many of them seem like such a scam. Or even if there were things like this happening, you almost wouldn't know because there are so many scams out there. I mean, I don't know. But anyways, if movie people and eccentric people and like famous athletes and stuff like that got involved, and then it just became more like a game show, like, hey, look at this person. He just funded like three people getting their first house. And then those people pay back the loan into a giant fund. And that fund just continually gets like turned around and be like, hey, all right, now the fund got used to use these people. And you could link it to the original donors or whatever. I mean, people might not feel comfortable having their face out there like that. But, like athletes and movie stars are less likely to care. But then at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You could even make it nameless and just keep the awkwardness out of it. And then everybody that invested in it knows, like they could get an email every time another person in their family. It's almost like They tried to do this with people in Africa too. Is like if you're sponsoring a child, like they would write to you and say thank you for your stuff or whatever, and you actually got to know and see that your donation was working. So, anyways, with the same idea here, like just to be able to see and know that somebody, you know, got a house because of you or because of your direct input. So then you get to pat yourself on the back, and oh, I guess it doesn't matter now. We can actually. So I wanted this to stay back here, and some kind of glitch. It smushed all three of the passenger of the car of the different rail cars into one. Actually, I wonder if that is three cars. Either that or it destroyed two, but it definitely smashed the passengers. There's a chicken, there's a llama, and a villager all crammed into that cart. Let's see if we can get a better angle. Yeah, pretty sure I saw the chicken on the right. There's a white square that was bigger than the llama. So, anyways, and then I just had that rail over there to store that minecart. But, anyways, still pretty fun. Like, we just never ending. At least one goes. So, but that's why I wanted to make it this way, so then you could have two that like run into each other. Then you just go back the other way, fall off of that back there, and then pop right back on. So, which one are you? Doesn't matter really. So. Anyways, the pay it forward loan idea, like something like that. And like all it would really take is like somebody to keep an eye on it or even a group of people. Like this could be a Discord like idea. And it could even be adopted by like the coding game community or the Minecraft community or any community. Just have a channel be like, you know, a helping hand or whatever. Or even for that matter, every single thing like that could have a channel like that be like, you know, hey, I need a car loan or I need a new car, you know, and then I don't know. There could be people that manage funds to direct towards that because it's out there, and especially if it was like an investment. Like if it was something, I'm thinking more people like Flava Flav who like you know spend all their money and then had to like go and do more things and like you just constantly have to like keep doing more work and more work. Of course, like I mean, you know, and or like if you're an athlete, then you do all this work and then it's like, okay, but you may never be able to work again, like destroying your body physically or you know, or not work again. Sorry, that sounds like really like deep and dark, but like, no, I'm talking more like, oh wait, I like to carry a stack on me in case a wandering trader pops up. But no, but having it as an investment, it's just continually getting paid back and back, and it's still your money. You're just continually loaning it out, and even making money off of it. Like if it's just low interest, just charge 2% interest, whatever. I mean, the national federal rate, it's like waving a stick in front of a bunch of dogs, and the people are all the dogs just looking around like, oh, you know, following it, and like, you know, oh, interest rates are high. Oh, now they're low, and that no, now they're high again. And it's like, you know, like, geez, just especially for people that aren't really well off. Now, the people that are well off, okay, you know, where it's not like a life or death situation. If like a stock market crashes or something, or any kind of like recession or whatever, like it always seems like there's such things like that. Um, and how far should I make it? Oh, so I mean, it could be fun. Like a lot of people could get in on it. Like that's the type of game show I'd like to see. Like let's go make someone's home loan. Like, you know, and then they get all up and like, oh yeah, they're gonna get a cool house. Look at that, and then, you know, and everybody can feel good about it, pat themselves on the back, and people get houses out of it. Like, you know, if we're so set on being such a culture around like infotainment and entertainment, television, and we are. I know people because I'm a people. So, yeah, and missed the boat on online voting for sure. But I mean, I would like to just kind of build a few prototypes like that. Use, you know, experiment with a few different database types. I mean, there's MariaDB, which is the built-in database server in Linux, most Linux distributions. There's Mongo, MongoDB, which is usually used with Node.js and that kind of like tech stack. And that would be really good to know because if I can get good at Node.js, which JavaScript is, it's weird at times, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's the same as any programming language. You just need to remember certain things like what the keywords are, how to make a function or a method, as they're called in like Java, and I don't know. Let's see. So we're building the Emerald Tower. It's going to be using a lot of blocks. And I'm envisioning basically like the Illager outpost type structure. Just have like an actual room, maybe a bulbous room at top, and then just have a tower come down. And then since you can't make stairs or slabs out of emeralds, I'm gonna have to think of something else. Like figure just using polished diorite, so it's like accented emerald. But maybe I can even find some kind of green. And as I say that, a lot of like the green building blocks. Let's see, can I even see? No, I'm thinking more like creative where you see all the blocks laid out. There's definitely some green blocks out there, but anyways. That was actually about all I wanted to talk about today. I had a couple good Dark Souls, because this is basically like my video journal at times, but got a couple of videos of Dark Souls, got some good progress there. Or Dark Souls 2. That's what I'm doing right now. Still need to finish Bloodborne. I'm almost, or actually, no, I did finish Bloodborne. Now I'm on playthrough 2. And so that I'm almost like thinking that I should just start a new character, and then just do another playthrough. Because, I mean, doing New Game Plus is fine, but like already I know there's going to be some areas that I was barely hacking it at just regular, the regular playthrough, not new game. So, and so though, for those that don't know, with Soulsborne's games, like when you beat it the first time, you kill the last boss or defeat the last boss, then you get New Game Plus, where you go back and you do everything all from the beginning again. And actually, Borderlands has been doing that as well, where you can go back and do like true border or true Vault Hunter mode, where like the enemies are harder. Sometimes there's like new variants that you haven't seen before. That might be something to do too. I've tried to do that with Borderlands, but I kind of just tend to lose interest. Like, it gets too hard at a point, and then it's like you're doing ridiculous damage with all these elemental weapons, and it's like you're just slowly ticking off the health bar, and I don't know. It's not as rewarding. So yeah, the only things that really need to get done right now are hippie farms, online voting, and personal loans, or like zero to low interest loans. I mean, there's probably going to be some blowback, but if all of these things happen around the same time, because I'm thinking about like the people whose job, like they work at banks, like banks employ a lot of people, and so like they have a lot of people kind of dependent on like this whole money structure that we have, and if you undercut them basically by removing, because especially if you're just saying like low class, whatever that is, or like only people that make minimum wage or give or take like a certain amount of minimum wage, like that would be kind of like one way to go about it. And at the same time, because we're already doing this, like where we're looking and researching into ways for more affordable housing. Like there's a lot of shipping container things. There's there's foldable homes. Like I was just watching a video where Amazon sells this thing for like 19,000. It was saying, and it just unfolds like a house. But I mean that doesn't really work for like colder areas. I mean you got to wonder about the insulation of those houses and like what the heating costs would be. And there's other things that you're gonna, and for that matter, trailers. Like, 'cause I had a trailer just for, not even a whole year up in BV, and it was really cold, and I was paying like 300 just for heating every month, $300, and my rent was, I think, 550. I was supposed to have a roommate too, and if I would have had a roommate, which he bailed, but like, if I would have had that roommate, it would have been a lot easier than I would have just had to pay like 250 for the base rent and then 150 for heating. But instead, I did the full 800, every month, 850, and I was only making maybe like, well, $16 an hour, which was pretty good, but it was construction. And then that was only for part of it too. Like for other part of it, it was like working up at the ski resort making, I want to say that was like $10 an hour. So, and that was good back at that time. That was back when like minimum wage was like what, like $7, $5 to $7, something like that. Now I think it's like 10 or 12, but even that's decent. Like, I mean, if you're like a younger person and like you have roommates, that's not too bad. But I mean, if you're like older and you're trying to like have families and stuff, then that is a little ridiculous. But hopefully by that time, you know, you like to think you're not making minimum wage. So, or you're making minimum wage because you got in trouble, you went to jail or prison, and now you got to like, you know, work your way back up, which, and it sucks. And I feel like we're closing that gap too, because people get punished for like a time after they're done. Like, I feel like once you're done and like your sentence is up, then you should just be done. But unfortunately, there's a lag of up to 10 years. Well, I think it's up to 10 years of like your sentencing date. Like that's the, you know, you have to disclose it for certain things. But then once it gets to be 10 years, then I don't think you're able to, you know, care or have it be a factor. It's like, it's just not relevant at that point. Government jobs might be different, but at the same time, they might not care. Like I feel like I have heard of situations where people can have criminal charges and then just be like, you know, be okay. The military, especially, like, I think they look the other way on a few certain crimes. Like, I feel like I've heard of people doing that. So, as it should be too. I'm not like laughing like that. It needs to be addressed, but like, you know, people are people and people make mistakes, but like, it's just this black and white, like, nope, you know, like cross them off a list type mentality that's caused more problems. And that's why we continue to have more problems. Like, most crime is done because either there's a lack of supervision in the family, like their parents aren't around, like they're either dead or in prison, like themselves. So, you know, you have destabilized family structures that way, or, you know, or for whatever reason. I mean, it's not even just like criminal justice and death, but like, you know, just the economic level. Like if it's too expensive to barely scrape by yourself, and then people having kids and stuff, then it's like, you know. So that's why I love like debating and discussing this stuff with random strangers all over the world on XApp, because you know we're talking about all these things like, and yeah, the Bible comes up a lot, and then I'll just find like something little neat tidbit like that. Like I saw someone, a very liberal post, like saying like, you know, the Bible even says like, you know, don't charge interest on loans. But then like I googled it, and so thanks to AI and all this stuff, they make this nice big thing, which you're still supposed to fact check. But at the same time, like I've been spreading other biblical things, and like so far nobody, like the one specifically about Trump and how Donald Trump like ticks all these boxes for like the Antichrist. And it's like, and I've definitely talked about it before on these videos, but like technically by those definitions, I'm described. It's like the builder of towers. Every human being likes to be seen and heard, so that like there's a certain level of vanity for everything. I mean, it's just, at what point does it stop being tasteful? At what point is it a problem? That's true with all these famous celebrities and everything. It's like, you know, at what point are they like, okay, that's still within reason, and then okay, now this is just too much. You got to like rein it in a bit, you know. And just the runaway wealth too. Anyways, until we fix that, convincing people to loan that wealth out at low interest to people that qualify, that would fix a ton of problems, and it'd make people feel great. And you know, people could pretty much generally agree that, oh, it's okay if you brag about that. That's okay. Like that's bragging rights. Like you should be able to brag about that. I mean, that's tasteful use of your wealth. So, and people do, and that's the other thing too. Is like a lot of people that do have all this wealth, that is one of the things they think of. Is like, well, how do I give back? How do I do these things? You know, and how they do it really does determine, well, a few things. All right. Well, trying to think if there's anything else. So that's all I'm working on today. Is like I'm gonna try to, well, clean up this house, organize a bunch of Magic the Gathering cards because I got a bunch of those, and I plan on trying to like somehow donate them. Like I want to collect as many as I can, and just like, but all the doubles and stuff, and like you know somehow figure that out. And there are a lot of school programs where I was looking it up at once upon a time. Like you can sponsor it by donating so much money, and they'll send a starter kit to a school, and then that school will start a club, and then or there's like a whole network of people that do that sort of thing. And that's just one of those things that is kind of like pay to play. Like the really good players, have enough money to invest in that, or their families do, and like, and when you might not be as much, then you got to be a little craftier. And you can still win off of like bargain decks and stuff. You don't need a lot of like the really high priced ones, but and then people proxy too. So like if they're doing, just to be able to have the very expensive cards or whatever. So I don't know, but and again, bragging rights. Like we're so big about bragging about sports wins and like, random stuff like that. Like I feel like we should be able to brag about, hey, we donated this much money or we raised this much money for the pay it forward loans. In fact, I wonder. I'll bet you we could even call it that. Like we could try. I'd probably have to talk to. Well, it's a zero profit. Like not even nonprofit to where like, and nonprofits in general are not trying to like they only pay their employees and like they're not out to make a profit. So they try to cut costs all they can. And yeah, so I mean, but this like you wouldn't even have to pay anybody to do the work, or maybe you could. And then there's a job or two, like people managing this stuff. And all you'd really have to manage is like the disbursement of funds, like with people that qualify, and then making sure that they're paying on time, and computers do all that stuff anyway. Like I mean, if the payment's late, it'll send a flag. Like, it's not that hard to either build or buy a system like that. And so, but yeah, undercutting the banks, that is a big concern because I mean, banks still need to do business. And I'd like to think that if enough of this happened, because that's the other thing too, is like, okay, now we've done all that, but like, whoops, for banks to stay afloat, maybe they'll have to follow suit and start giving out loans at like zero to low interest to people that qualify. Like if you can show your income and show that you only make so much, oh yeah, you get 1% loans until this changes. Like, even just doing that and making that kind of adjustment would vastly improve the state of things. And anyone could be doing that. I don't need to be president to do that. Like, if you just put the right bug in the right ears, if you tell the right people and get them going on that. And the biggest thing is not taking credit for it. Like, I mean, obviously credit will come back where credit is due, but as far as like one of the biggest barriers to things like this is people feel like they have to like pay for it or something, or like, or there's so much legal jargon of like stealing and copyright and like, there's just so much stress about that. Also, I'm trying to think. Let's go ahead and fix this because yeah, 'cause basically like it'll go up. At some point, it'll wrap back up that way. In fact, that might even be good. I don't know, really want it too tall. So I'll make it like about twice as tall as that for just the base. And then we can make it bulbous after that. Almost, I mean, it almost looks inappropriate, but, just making towers and stuff. There's the birch house over there because my son hates birch. So I built a house. There's a bunch of TNT in it too. Because I told him, I was like, you could blow it up, but, oh, and actually, you know what? Before we can even do that, we still got to kind of finish this. I was going to put basically like a pyramid base of this. I don't know. This would not work in the real physical world. Like there's so much weight up top there, it would just fall over. Or maybe, I don't know, if it was like a super lightweight, and that was a strong base. But I feel like you should still have a support or two. So. But no, and I think we're getting to that point anyway. Like we're so like YouTube, a lot of that. I mean, Mr. Beast doing all this stuff, Beast Philanthropy. I mean, people are racing to go fix all the problems of the world. So everything I say, like by the time you see this, it's probably all going to be obsolete anyway. But who knows? Pay it forward loans. All right. So how do I want to go about this? Because yeah, we'll just come back. Oh, now I need the stairs. There we go. See, we're getting something done. But no, and I'm on vacation. I took today off, so I am enjoying it. Had the kids for the first half of the day, and now Minecrafting and Dark Souls and cleaning the house and all this stuff. Like I've got to do a couple Goodwill runs, and that's my problem. Is like I'm a hoarder of kids' clothes. Like all the clothes that doesn't don't fit my kids anymore. I mean, and that for any parent, and that's another thing. Like all of the clothes that you need to buy. I mean, one of the many costs of children, and if people want to stop seeing people have so many abortions and stuff, make it affordable to have families. And you do that by your food, like the biggest expenses, your food, your transportation, your clothes, like any of the costs of just life in general. And if you can slowly, and energy, sorry, so your bills, I mean, and a vehicle, a car. So like, but think about that. Like, how much easier would it be to do a low interest car loan for somebody? So like, I'm talking usually like house loans, where we're talking like a good, like $500,000 anymore for a decent house, and convincing movie stars and actors and all this stuff and like, and athletes to donate to this type of loan system. It'd be much easier for a small scale like cars, and then just yeah, pay it forward loans. A nonprofit that just wheels and deals, like Gavlan wheel, Gavlan deal. All right, well, that's anyways enough for this one. I'm trying to think. Does this need to just keep up with that? So I was definitely getting that tower vibe. So nice. Let's go see how this is, and then I'll cut the episode and go do something else. Go switch it up. Yeah, that's gonna look cool. Just like a giant, because I mean that'll be filled, and then we'll put like a bigger structure. Maybe I don't know about how too much bigger. Maybe it'll just be like straight up and down, like a kind of like that, like that. So, anyways, ta ta for now. I will see you in the next one.